Capitalization, different sentence types, quotes, and titles revisited. This is the first of 3 capitalization videos. We will look at different kinds of sentences, and I will explain when to use capital letters. Now, when I'm explaining capital letters today, I will just be sharing the most important rule for capitalization. Later, in future videos, I will share more specific examples involving dates and addresses and proper nouns. I just want to bring your attention to the title again. The title of this video is Capitalization, Different Sentence Types, Quotes, and Titles Revisited. And you might be saying, well, why are you using this word revisited? Well, in the video just before this one, I actually shared the same examples that I'm going to be sharing today. But in the other video, I talked about punctuation. It's important to remember that when you're writing a sentence, you need to remember a whole bunch of different things. You've already learned about different parts of speech, for example, and you need to understand that. But if we're talking about spelling and grammar, an important part of that is knowing how to use capitalization properly and knowing how to use punctuation properly. So hopefully you're able to watch the video just before this one on punctuation, and then you can go back and watch this video after, and it should make a little bit more sense. So this time I'm looking at the same examples, but I'm focusing on the capitalization in those sentences instead of the punctuation. So before I get started with the sentences, let me briefly explain what capital letters are. Here's a good picture for you. When you think of the English alphabet, you can write out the letters in 2 different ways. You can see these 2 different ways here, right? The 2 different A's, the 2 different B's, C's. All the letters in the alphabet are in this picture. So you can write the letters in uppercase. We also call those capital letters, or you can write the letters in lowercase, and we also call those small letters. So you've got big and small, right? You've got capital letters, small letters, or you can also say uppercase letters and lowercase letters. So the first rule, and the most important rule, and also the easiest rule to remember when we're talking about capitalization, is that the first word in any sentence starts with a capital letter. So you always start with a capital letter. That's all you need to know for now. So in the last video, as I mentioned at the beginning, I shared some sentences with you. And I want to look at the sentences again and just focus on where the capital letters are. And you can see in every single one of these examples, the capital letter is first, right? The starts with a capital T. It starts with a capital I. There starts with a capital T. Right, so you can see the capital letters always come first. Now, just in case anyone would like a very quick review, all the first 3 examples here in purple, they're all general statements that end with a period. Notice how the first letter of the first word is capitalized. So that's what I want you to notice today, is that first letter and the first word is capitalized. And when we were talking about punctuation, when we looked at these sentences, we talked about how we ended them with a period. But for today, I just want you to know that the first letter in the first word for all of these sentences is capitalized. Second set, in red here, please take the dog for a walk. Take the dog outside now. Get out of my way! So these are different kinds of orders. At first, the order is gentle and polite, and then the second order is a little more assertive, and then the third order is pretty aggressive, right? Get out of my way! And again, all you need to know is, for this video, the first letter of the first word is capitalized. Pretty easy, right? I think you get the idea. You can see even if we're asking questions like, where is the dog? The dog is outside, right? Or who wants to go for a walk with me? No matter what, that first letter in the first word is capitalized. Same thing here with this last set, all right? We've got some emotion happening with these statements here. Help! I lost my dog. The dog just ate my homework. Terrible. I would never go outside in that weather. So you can see here we actually have in the first one help. That's called an interjection. You can look back at one of my past videos if you want to know more about interjections. But you can see that word help starts with a capital H, and then when the next sentence starts, right, the word I starts with a capital. And something to know is whenever we use I, and I is a pronoun, whenever we use the word I, it is always capitalized. It's actually good that I have these examples here because you can see what I mean. And that's similar, right? Help, I lost my dog is similar to terrible, I would never go outside in that weather, because we have another interjection at the beginning with a capital T, and then we have a capital I, right? That first word has to have a capital letter there for that next sentence. Okay, in the last video, we also discussed how to use quotation marks. It was a punctuation thing. But this time, I would like to look at the examples again, but focus on capital letters instead. So there were 4 examples, and we'll go through them one at a time. So here's the first one. Sheila asked, "When will dinner be ready?" So this was an example of dialogue. All right. If you want to know more about dialogue, watch the video before this. It would take me a long time to explain what that's all about. But what you need to know for this video is that in this first example there is dialogue. So the sentence still starts with the first word having a capital, right? So you can see here also that when a person a person speaks and the first letter in the first word that the person says is also capitalized, and this just happens with dialogue. It's something special that happens with dialogue. So the very first word is capitalized, right? Sheila asked, right? That always has to happen. But because we have dialogue and she's asking something, it's words that are being spoken by her. The first word that she says from what she's saying, that word when, right? She's asking a question, when will dinner be ready? That first word when has to have a capital on it. So we start with a capital W. Next example. You should read The Secret Garden because it is a great story. So we've mentioned the title of a story here in this sentence, okay? So we have a title, and just like any sentence, we start with a capital letter on the word you, right? Capital Y. And because we have a title here, we've got some other capital letters here, all right? The Secret Garden, a capital T on the, a capital S on secret, and a capital G on garden. All right, so in this second example, notice that there is a title of a story that is mentioned, right? The Secret Garden. A few things to remember. Titles are different than sentences. Titles give a name for something, like here, a name for a story. With titles, capital letters are used so that they stand out. So people notice the title because of the capital letters. Right? So we know that The Secret Garden is it's the title of a book, and that's important. So capital letters help us to know that. So the most important rules to remember with titles are to capitalize the first word of the title and capitalize all proper nouns. I got this information from this source here on the right, a daily writing tips website. Here's an important note. At the end of this video, I will share a website, a different website, that automatically capitalizes titles as you type them. You can also read about the specific rules. Capitalizing titles is tricky because not everyone follows the same rules. All right, so if you've got a title, all right, and you're not sure how to capitalize that title, you could go to that website. But if we're talking about sentences and using the right kind of capitalization in a sentence, then there are rules that we can follow, and everybody follows the same rules. So in the future videos, when I talk more about capitalization, I will go through more of those rules for you so that you can fully understand. But just know that if we have a title of something, like a title of a book, a title of a movie, there's lots of different titles that we could have. If we have a title for something, then the rules aren't always clear. So that's why I wanted to share a website with you that could help with that. All right, third example of a sentence. The new drama series always gives me the feels. All right, so in this third example, a slang word is used. All right. To get the feels means that something makes you emotional. For example, the drama series might be really sad, and it might make you cry. A drama series is some kind of television show. The characters usually face some kind of challenge. I wanted to give you some examples of drama series. Of course, these are just examples. They do not reflect my personal opinions about television shows. Different people like different shows for different reasons. All right. So these shows that I've listed have nothing to do with my personal opinion. All right. It doesn't mean I think it's a good show or a bad show or anything like that. If you don't like any of these shows, that's fine. That's your opinion. These are just examples that I'm sharing to help explain what a drama series is. All right, so here's a list of a few drama series. There's a show called Lost, or we have the Twilight Zone, a show called 24, Arctic Air, Law and Order, Heartland, The Beachcombers, and a show called MASH. All right, here's a last example before we talk about that capitalization, that title capitalization website. My friend always told me that you can't worry about things that you have no control over. It's an example of a direct quote. And again, if you want to know more, check out the video right before this one about punctuation, where I explain all of these different sentences in terms of the kind of punctuation that we're using. So in this fourth example, there are words that someone spoke to someone else, and those words are part of the sentence. This is different than the first example, right, where somebody asked that question, right? This is different than the first example. In the first example, there is dialogue, but in this example, words that someone heard are part of what is being explained. All right. And again, check out the video right before this if you need to know more. If this isn't clear, check out the video right before. Notice how the first letter in the first word is capitalized, right? That word my, right? Capital M. This is the first rule that you need to remember about capitalization. So really, this whole video was meant to tell you what capitalization was and tell you the first rule. Capitalize the first letter in the first word of any sentence. All right, so this last part here, capitalization and titles. So just remember here, right? Titles are not the same as sentences. The rules for capitalizing titles are different than the rules for capitalizing sentences. In future videos, I will share more specific examples of sentences with capitalization. These sentences will have dates and addresses and proper nouns in them. All right, so there's a lot to explain about capitalization. I'm sharing this resource with you, this title capitalization website, just in case you're ever trying to make up your own title for something. Maybe you write a story, or maybe you write an article, and you need to come up with your own title and you don't know how to capitalize that title. You can go to the website. You can type in your title and see how to capitalize it. You can also click to see the rules even. So now keep in mind, these are the rules that are used on that particular website. Different people use different rules. But I just wanted to give you one option, one way that you can really easily figure out how to capitalize a title that you might make. So on the next page, I have an example. All right. So this is where I went to this website, titlecapitalization.com, and I made up a title. And this is what happened. So as I was typing it, I didn't put any capital letters in myself. The program automatically made capital letters for me. So this is the title that I made up: Canada from East to West, an awesome country to visit. So maybe I'm thinking of a title for some kind of brochure about Canada or something like that. Okay, and it just shows you how you can get more information. These links you could click on coordinating conjunctions or prepositions. And I've chosen to follow these rules here based on the Chicago Manual of Style, and that's because this website uses that information, right? So this site uses the Chicago Manual of Style, so I recommend using the third option. I mean, whenever you type in a title here, the website uses information from the Chicago Manual of Style to automatically capitalize the title for you. So choose the third option. You'll get the best. You'll get the best answer when you type in your title. Well, I hope this video was helpful, and I look forward to the next one.